Guys, I'm hearing prices are going up. I'm hearing prices are going down. Which one is true? Stay with me and I'll tell you.
You better get fired up.
Man, you ask 10 different people, including real estate agents, if prices are going up or down, you're going to get 10 different answers, man. That's crazy. So what we're going to do today is get rid of the biased opinions going up on this noggin, and we're going to start looking at actual data. And the data is going to conflict a little bit. So I'm going to explain the why. Let's first look at nationwide data. So I'm going to share my screen here and I'm going to pull up some stats that let's do this. Got right here from Trading Economics, right? And I'm going to show you two different screens. So this one right here would tell you that 12 months ago in October, the median price looks like it was at about 392. I wonder if I touch it. Oh yeah, there we go, 392. That was a good guess. All right, and then in January came down to 379. This is nationwide again. And then in June, it peaked out at 427. And then in September, it came down to 407. And now it's coming back. It says the same number, 407, but you can see if you just, visually look at it, it's a hair higher than it was in September. Okay. So this is very interesting. What does this tell you? Well, not a whole lot. Is it going up? Is it going down? It's kind of doing both, right? But if you look at the 3-year, you start to get a little better idea of what's going on, right? It goes up in the summer here, peaks out in June, comes down in January, peaks out in June, comes down in January, peaks out in June, comes down in, well, you'll see eventually, probably January. That's just a guess. So it's kind of cyclical, but you can see also that it's got an overall uptrend over 3 years. It's gone from 353 to 407. So it definitely has an uptrend over the span of 3 years. Is it coming down? Well, it looks like it is, but that also looks like what it typically does every single year. And then the question is, okay, is it going to go back up? Well, I'm betting that in the next 2 months, it's going to kind of bottom out and then it's going to start coming back up. And I bet, because I'm a crazy prognosticator, it'll probably peak out in June, right? And then we'll start to see a decline again. So that is a very interesting thing to look at. And there's no bias in there. That's 100% factual. Now, that is the United States as a whole, and this is existing home prices. So it's not taking new construction into consideration, right? Now, let's look at, I don't think I have this up. Let's look at some data that I actually pull from the local MLS here. And this data, is this enough? Yeah, let me make this a little bit smaller so we can see it all. Let's back that sucker up. Okay, so now I'm going to share another screen, and what this is Port St. Lucie single-family homes only, meaning it's not anything outside of Port St. Lucie, and it's also not, modulars, condos, townhouses, anything like that. It's single-family homes. So here's the interesting thing. You can see inventory has gone from 1,388 available, that's available homes for sale, consistently up until boom, now we're at 1,802. That is pretty wild, okay? But when you come down to median sales price, I tell my guys, with this one weird exception in April, it's never gone below 415. It's never gone above 425 until today. Today was the first day I seen it creep out of that $10,000 window up to 429, which is kind of crazy, right? So what that tells me is that prices are going up, and that's not asking prices. Those are sold prices. Sold prices have gone up. Isn't that interesting? So are prices going up? Are they going down? It's not really an easy question to answer unless you're doing a video like this, right? And you can share this data. I think you've got to look at the why behind that question being asked, both as a seller and as a buyer. As a seller, and it's just the opposite for the buyer, you want to know, am I selling at a bad time? Are prices down, and if I wait a year, I'll get more? Or do you expect prices to keep going down, and I need to sell right now? And looking at the data, I think it's pretty clear what you're likely going to see. I will say too, we saw this on the United States wide trends, but when you look at local data, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that $10,000 window. It's right in there. It just kind of broke out, but it only broke out by $4,000. So we're not seeing that same trend here locally in Port St. Lucie. Why? In my opinion, it hasn't gone down like every single area, not every single area, a lot of the areas in the nation, because we're so affordable. We are a big city that offers a lot, right? It's got a 250 to 300,000 person population. I think we're the sixth biggest city in Florida. And of all the 100,000 person cities in Florida, we are the most affordable. So you've got folks coming from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, even from the West Coast, right? Tampa, Fort Myers is very expensive. Sarasota, Naples is very expensive. Coming into this area because there's still jobs. There's still a lot to do in South Florida. They still get no income tax here locally. They still get that beautiful weather and all those great things to do. They still get the beach, but it's way more affordable. So they're selling their $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 homes, coming here and buying $350,000 to $500,000. That is keeping our local Port St. Lucie market very healthy. We're also getting a lot of people coming from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, California. Those are the biggest states I'm seeing people come down from. And because we've got that overall net gain, that influx, it's keeping our prices very strong. So for buyers, if you're comparing it to, I don't know what you're comparing it to. If you're comparing it to West Palm or waiting a year, no, it makes complete sense to buy today. Because I don't want to say I guarantee, but I can all but guarantee it's going to be more expensive in West Palm, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, all those different areas. Whatever it is you're buying, it's almost assuredly going to be more expensive. So if price is an issue for you, absolutely I would buy here. Timing, if it's an issue, I can't guarantee it won't be any, cheaper in the next year or more expensive in the next year. But I can tell you that traditionally speaking, prices rarely go down compared to going up. And when they go down, they generally don't go down enough for it to make financial sense for you to wait. The amount that it will go down, a lot of times when it goes down, you would have given up more than that to your landlord that you could have made up in equity in your home. So a 1%, 2%, 3% drop isn't really enough financially, numbers wise, to make up for that. As a seller, I kind of think the same thing. Prices are probably going to continue going up. I do think, though, we're very close to, when you look at the median income of most people in America, and even down here in South Florida, we're kind of at the peak with the rates where they're at of what most average people can afford when it comes to housing. So I don't feel prices can go up a lot more than maybe 2-3 points over inflation. And I know inflation's been crazy, but inflation tends to average out around 3-4%. And I see prices going up probably 2 to 6% over the next year. Could they come down? Sure. Do I see them coming down 30-40%? Probably not. Could they? Absolutely. But everything I'm seeing tells me that odds are, and I just tend to be a guy who will make gambles like that on the odds. Odds are it's going to go up 2 to 6%. So I would love to hear anyone who disagrees with me. Not only that you disagree with me in the comments, but why? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What's impacting you personally that's making you think that prices should be coming down? Or maybe you think they're going to go up more than 6%. I've also heard that, and I've heard so many people have 2, 3, 4% interest rates. They're not going to sell their house to get into another home that's at 6, 7%. I personally thought that. And I personally have a 2.25% interest rate. And I told my wife, you better get comfy, lady, because we ain't moving. This is a beautiful mortgage. But looking at the inventory rates, what were we at? I'm going to pull this up again. You won't be able to see it, but January 1st, we had 1,388 single family homes for sale. And now we have 1,802, right? 1,802 minus 1388 divided by 1388 is a 29.8% increase. That's a big old increase. 30% increase in inventory when people were saying you're not going to get an increase in inventory. In fact, if anything, you'll get a decrease. That's not true. That's not true. And that's not just a Port St. Lucie stat. That is something that I am seeing trending throughout the United States in probably 70, 80, 90% of the areas. You're seeing an increase, a significant, a noticeable difference in inventory. And I'm not talking 2-3 times the inventory. It's 30%, but that is still enough to impact the market. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you think. Where am I off? What am I missing? Let me know. But guys, thanks for joining us. We're here every single Monday on What's Hot at 11 o'clock, where we talk about the hottest things in the market. Have a great day, guys.